if you want to bring a product in the market and there is already something in the market and you need to be able to be cheaper than a competitor, then you need to be able to code in machine language.
So what are the popular programming language for hardware? Can you name a few that the hardware that in China they use?
It little bit depends on what you're trying to realize, but C++ is important, and what is that?
Do they use machine code?
Python.
Oh, Python, yeah.
But that said, they're like less important, but still some people code in assembler. Because they just want to be able, like if you are competing on cents, like if you want to bring a product in the market and there is already something in the market and you need to be able to be cheaper than a competitor, then you need to be able to code in machine language, so you can keep your memory size of your chips very low, so your price of your chips goes down, and the code executes much more faster.
Wow, it is. Wow, people do that actually. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we work with one of the oldest partner manufacturers is an Italian guy who, I mean, and he is older than me. So, I mean, he is one of the first coders. And in that time, you coded in assembler because there was no higher language available yet. And when his son went to school, and we're talking about being like 10 years old, his son won every robot contest because all the other kids were coding in higher languages, and his son was coding in assembler. So his robot was much more agile and effective than the other one. So the kid always won everything. I think it really depends on what you are trying to achieve. It is not always necessary, but if it is, it can sometimes make the difference.
So machine language, if you know the machine language, you can actually gain an edge in some sense, right? Because of the processing efficiency, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But you really need to do first an assessment, of course, of what you're trying to realize.
Right, right. So you mentioned something like Python works as well?
Python is also quite regularly used because it's very versatile, but it's a very higher end language, it's got a lot of overhead. It's by far not the fastest, but
because it's a scripting language. It didn't meant to do this. Yeah.
But your question was, what is a very popular language? And of course,
Python is a popular language in hardware. That's surprising.
It's not so much in the firmware development, but in education or in and anything related to Raspberry Pi, things like those.
Oh, okay. What about JavaScript? I feel like a lot of people like JavaScript for software nowadays.
Yeah, so I'm not a coder myself. I think, as far as I know, JavaScript is a lot used online. In web.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's got anything to do with hardware.
Oh, okay. So they have to at least learn Python then, right? For people who want to switch.
C++, I think.
Yeah, C++. Yeah, the thing is nowadays, for me, right, I'm 30 something, right? Because because you were at my birthday. but when I was young, people are required in school to learn C and C++. That's the first language, right? But nowadays, kids learn stuff like Python, maybe for machine learning, or they learn JavaScript to code the web. So they don't actually know about C, because C is actually harder than those languages. I mean, for people who are not used to it, I guess. Yeah. So
I think that is a result of what the government wants I mean, like the government has set goals for the next 30, 40 years, and they know what the country needs in terms of that to grow. And I think web development and AI, things like that, are much more important than the hardware as such, because people who want to be in hardware, they will do the effort to learn C or C++ by themselves. There don't really need to be any incentives to learn that. But if you want to get a job in as a software developer, I don't think there is any bootcamp that will teach you C.
Yeah, no way.
Because that's not where the money is. You need to learn Java, JavaScript, whatever. I don't know all the languages, but those things are what can land you a job quite immediately after 9 weeks of intense study.
Interesting. Yeah. So there's new things to be learned for people who want to switch from software development to hardware development then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.